Hey everyone, this is Riddle Hackerator Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of It's a Sin, the miniseries, a 5 episode miniseries that you can check out right now on the Channel 4 streaming service, and it's also showing up on the actual Channel 4 TV station. A new episode is released every week, and you should be able to watch it on HBO Max come 28th of February or 20th of February. I'm not really sure. I should have checked it, but I'll leave the actual date in the description or the comment below. So I've already done a recap and review of the first episode, and again, as I've said, that even though I'm not a fan of sad queer narratives, if it's well written, which It's a Sin is, and it's about actual queer history, I'm all for it. And after watching the first episode, I knew that things were going to turn out well for our main cast of characters, and it didn't. We lost Colin, which was very devastating because Colin isn't like Richie or Roscoe or the other queer characters that we have seen, because Colin is very, very shy, he's boarded up, he's more into finding a boyfriend for himself or finding a husband for himself rather than casual hookups. And it turns out that even though Colin wasn't casually hooking up like Richie or the rest of the characters, he ended up getting the infection because he was hooking up with the son of the landlady that he lived with. And it just went to show that it wasn't only queer people who were having casual hookups who got the infection. Even if you were seeing only one person, and if you were committed to them, you could still get an infection because the person that you were hooking up with ended up getting an infection from someone else. It was just a very dangerous time, and there wasn't a lot of information going around. And Colin dying, it was devastating. And even though Jill was trying to make her roommates like stop hooking up with the rest. But yeah, anyway, I'm recapping the second and third episode, which this video isn't about. But yeah, so in episode number 4, we find out that everyone decides to get tested, and it turns out that Roscoe is negative, Ash is negative. However, it's very, very clear that Richie isn't negative, he's positive, but he's scared to look at the actual results, so he doesn't go to the doctor. And there's also this very sweet moment which ended up becoming horrible because Richie finally finds someone. I guess his name is David. He's a fellow young actor, and I think Richie can finally kind of see himself being his boyfriend. But because of Richie, how Richie is and how he's been casually hooking up, and he doesn't use protection, it's like he ends up giving the infection to David. But yeah, anyway, it's November 1988. His career is going well, but you can tell that Richie's health isn't keeping up with him, and he's on the stage and is giving this performance. Everyone is clapping. It was a good performance. Even his parents are there, and his parents have finally come over to his side, and they're proud of their son being an actor and being successful in life. And then we cut to November 1991, and things are just bad for Richie. And I actually liked how Richie was like, you know what, I'm not going to let this disease be the end of me. I'm going to fight till the end. And you can tell that Richie has been fighting. So there's a call, and Jill picks it up, and it's actually Richie's mom. And because Richie moms wants to know whether or not Richie will be able to make it this year for Christmas, and Jill is like, you know what, I'll get Richie on the phone. So yeah, they're keeping Richie's health a secret from his family, and Jill is there to support him while Richie talks to his mom. And Richie's like, "Mom, I would love to be home for Christmas, but yeah, I've got auditions. I have to be ready. I don't have any booked parts yet, but something big is going to come up soon, so I need to be in the city. I can't come back home." And his mom is understanding, and his mom is like, "Okay, okay, you do you." So it's dinner time, and Roscoe, Ash, Jill, and Richie are sitting at a table, and there's this audition that Richie wants to go for. There's this role in a stage play, and he's like, I can do it." And you can tell from Jill's face that she knows that Richie's health is fading away, and she's like, "You know what, Richie? I get that you want to be part of this production, but I would rather that you rest, and when your health is a bit up, then you can go audition. And yeah, Richie is happy because Richie, again, he wants to have a positive outlook, he wants to beat the disease, but his friends know that it's near impossible. So it's nighttime, and Jill helps Richie with the meds, and he has to go to sleep soon. I guess it's only 7:30, and he has to go to bed. And as Jill's sleeping, he hears something fall to the ground in Richie's room, and she runs in and she sees that Richie's on the floor because he was tired, that he was getting warm. He wanted to cool off, so he decided to walk out of this room, but he was way too weak to walk, and he fell, and they end up calling the ambulance. And again, Richie with his positive outlook, Richie is like, I'll be all right, don't worry about me, and all of that stuff. So the ambulance takes Richie away. And then we have this scene between Roscoe and one of the shop. I think she's a shopkeeper who also lives down in the building. I'm not really sure. So she ends up telling Roscoe that do you know what AIDS stand for? And Roscoe is like, what? And the woman is like, it stands for angel in disguise. And I was like, oh, really, you want to say that, like, after seeing that Richie was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. I'm like, okay, there are people who are homophobes, there are people who don't like queer people, and I'm kind of okay with it. But I mean, show a bit of respect, show a bit of empathy. If you think that the queer community is going to hell, good for you. Keep it to yourself. But yeah, Roscoe, of course, he's understandably annoyed by the woman. He picks up the trash can, and he ends up throwing the trash can through the lady's window, and I'm not mad at it. So we are at the hospital, and we get a scene where Ash and Richie bond. And Ash and Richie, I mean, it's clear that Ash and Richie kind of both love each other, but Richie was very busy living his own life. He wanted a lifestyle that Ash didn't like. Ash couldn't keep up with it. So both of them are bonding. And then Jill decides to go and meet their friend. We have seen this man in, I guess, episode 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, all of the people in the friends group have started to slowly getting the disease, and they're dying. And Ash goes to visit him, and of course he doesn't remember. Not Ash, Jill. Jill goes to visit him, and of course he doesn't remember Jill, but Jill is still there, showing her friend her support. And again, Richie and Ash bond, and Ash is like, I love you, Richie. Richie is like, I love you too. But yeah, what's done is done. So it's the next morning, and apparently there is this option for Richie's treatment, and it's chemotherapy. And of course, Jill is against that idea. She is like, you know what, Richie's body isn't strong enough to handle chemotherapy. But Richie, again, he wants to beat the disease. He's like, you know what, doctor? The doctor is also a fan of Richie. Because he has seen Richie on TV and other stuff. Richie is like, you know what, doctor, bring on the chemotherapy. I'll do it. So he goes for the chemotherapy, and I guess it doesn't work, but he doesn't die, so at least there's that. So Roscoe is at the hospital too, and as Roscoe is making his way towards Richie's room, he notices that his father is in a room and he's praying, and Roscoe is like, I don't want you being in this ward and trying to convert queer people and all of that stuff. And Roscoe's father is like, no, I'm not here for that. I was asked to come, so I came. And this is basically where Roscoe's father, after he ended up, I guess he went back to Nigeria, and he also visited other countries, and he saw the hate and all of that stuff, and he's like, I don't want that. I don't want to do that anymore, Roscoe. And he basically asks Roscoe for forgiveness, and Roscoe is like, you know what? I need time. So Jill and Richie are talking. And yeah, again, even though the chemo happened, I don't think it worked for him. But yeah, this is where we get to see the guilt in Richie's conscious, and he is like, at first the conversation is about Richie trying to figure out who might have given him the infection. Was it David? And Jill is like, considering your lifestyle, it's probably you who ended up giving it to David. And this ends up going, and this kind of hurts Richie, and then it shows his guilt. He's like, you know what, Jill, you're kind of right, because even though I knew that I was infected, again, because we know from the previous episodes that he didn't go and check, and it was clear that he was infected, and he had started he had started seeing the symptoms, and and he still wasn't not hooking up with other people. And he's like, you know what, Jill, I guess I ended up infecting thousands of other queer people, and do you hate me now? And yeah, you can really understand that Richie was a very interesting character throughout this entire miniseries. Again, I was kind of hoping for more, for not more per se, but any bisexual representation. But this 5 episode miniseries didn't have any bisexual representation in it. But anyway, coming back to Richie has a whole lot of guilt, and I guess in a sense he kind of accepts all of this happening because it's like he thinks that he deserves it. And before Jill can talk to him about what he told her about infecting other young queer people. Richie's parents come in. Apparently, they went to the apartment to surprise him because they knew that Richie couldn't come over for Christmas today. And because they hadn't seen their son in a year, they were like, why don't we go and surprise him? So they went there, and the neighbor told them that Richie was at the hospital. So the parents are now there. And this is where their parents find out that Richie has AIDS. And of course, the father is an emotional mess. Richie's father is like, no, I won't let this disease end you. I'm going to scourge it out of you, and I'm going to go and talk to the doctor. And while that's happening, Richie's mom is basically in denial. She's actually very confused. She's like, wait, Richie, do you have cancer or do you have AIDS? What's going on? And she's just not understanding what's happening with Richie. And of course, as a mother, she doesn't want her only son to die. And Ash comes in and he is like, hi, I'm Ash. I'm Richie's boyfriend. And Richie's like, you're not. No, you're not. And then, yeah, Jill is like, this isn't the time. And again, Richie's mom is very, very confused. She goes to the nurse and she ends up verbally attacking the nurse. And she's like, wait, so you as a nurse really thought that a 30-year-old person was getting chemo and other treatments, and you didn't think of telling their parents, telling that person's parents? And the nurse is like, I don't really know what to say right now. So it's time for the mom to talk to Jill, and she goes to Jill and she's like, Jill, I need a private conversation with you. And Jill is like, yeah, I understand. Let's go to this little kitchen, this little sitting area and talk. And this is where Richie's mom, again, she's in denial. She's like, you know what? I get that Richie is a very pretty boy, and I get that boys have this sexual energy in them. So I can understand that other queer young men tried hit on Richie, and Richie ended up hooking with them, and after he released himself and released all of that tension, it happens. It's just what some boys do, and then those boys grow up, and Richie isn't gay, and Jill is like, you know what, Miss. I'm not really sure what Richie's mom's name is, but Jill is like, yeah, some boys do that, but Richie isn't like that. Richie is a 100% homosexual boy, even though you can't see it. And while they're talking, another woman comes in, and her son is in the ward too, and she ends up having a few words with Richie's mom, and she is like, wait, so you're telling me that your son is like 31 or 32 years old, and all of these years you didn't realize that your son was gay? Wow, if you have been saying that you love your son, but if you really loved your son, why didn't you know that your son was gay? And that actually hurts Richie's mom. It's a reality check that she needed to hear. And Richie's mom is like, wait, you don't get to talk to me like that. I know my son. I love my son. I know who he is. And the other woman is like, yeah, sure, Jan. And she walks off. And then the mother, because again, the mother isn't really accepting all of this, she's not taking accountability about her own decisions and how she treated Richie. She ends up showing her frustration or dumping her frustration on Jill. And she's like, Jill, this is all your fault. And Jill is like, why is it my fault? Over the years, I kept telling you again and again and again that Richie isn't my boyfriend. I'm not his girlfriend. And Richie's mom is like, yeah, whatever. But you're the one who stopped me from seeing who my son really is. And she ends up calling Jill a big bad bitch or something. I think it was a big bitch, but it was bad. It was just bad. You can see that Richie's mom isn't taking any accountability. So she goes to her husband, and Richie's father is emotional and he's crying, and the mom is like, get a hold of yourself. This isn't helping. I need to figure out what to do with our son. She goes and she meets Richie, and Richie is like, Mom, I'm sorry. And Richie's mom is like, it's okay, my little lovely boy. I'll take you home and I'll get you better. I'm sure of it. So yeah, time passes and Richie's mom is taking care of Richie. However, it's basically a prison in a sense, because whenever Jill calls and she wants to talk to Richie, Richie's mom is like, he's sleeping or he can't come to the phone right now. So she just wants Jill out of Richie's life, and she is like, you know what, Jill, you spent years with him. That's the time that I wanted to spend time. Those are the years that I want to spend with my son. So yeah, bye. Of course, Jill is frustrated because Richie is one of her best friends and she wants to be close to him, especially because they know that Richie is going to die. So we cut to Richie's parents taking care of him. His dad is sitting with him, reading books, and his mom's in there, and she reminds him of the song that Richie liked, and Richie is like, has Jill called? And his mom lies to him, literally lies to him, and she is like, yeah, she called, but she's busy, she can't come and see you. And I'm like, Richie's mom is a piece of work, really? There's so much emotional trauma inside this woman, and there's so much anger, I guess, inside of her for some reason, that she's literally making her son suffer because of it. And it makes no sense. So Richie's agent comes in, and she ends up meeting Roscoe, Ash, and Jill, and she's like, "Here's this money that because of some royalties related to how Richie did this voiceover work for a Japanese cartoon or something." And she's like, this is like £700. Take it. I need you to go to the Isle of Wight, where I guess that's where Richie lives, and go there, stay there. And Jill is like, yeah, we'll do it right now. We'll go there and we'll rescue Richie. And the agent is like, no, this isn't for rescuing Richie. This is for you to say goodbye, because you know that Richie is going to die. So take this money, stay there as long as need be, in order for you to meet him finally. And she walks off, and I'm like, you know what, I wasn't expecting the agent to come in like that, but kudos to her. So Jill and Roscoe, because Ash is a teacher, I guess, so he can't take off from work like that. So Jill and Roscoe go to the Isle of Wight, and they're staying at this B&B, and they end up paying for 5 days, and the owner is like, okay, I'll book you for 5 days, but then Christmas is coming up and more bookings are going to come in, so you probably have to leave. So as the days pass by, Jill calls Richie's mom every day, and she is like, we are here, we need to talk to Richie. And again, Richie's mom keeps on ignoring her calls, and of course Jill is frustrated. And yeah, it's just bad. Richie's mom really made me mad. So Richie's mom is talking to Richie, and she's like, okay, so the doctor told me that you can get off 1 or 2 medications, so that's good, because when a doctor stops giving you or prescribing you medication, that means that you're getting better. And this is where Richie, he talks to his mom about his experience as a young gay man, and how he was hooking up with other men, and how much fun he had. And this is also where he asks mom about what's she going to tell the neighbors and the family and the rest about what happened to him when he dies. And Richie's mom is like, you don't have to worry about that. And Richie is like, no, I have to worry about that. I'm concerned about it, because other young queer men died and their families ended up making them disappear. And mom, I don't want to disappear. I want my truth to be heard, because I've always lived a truthful life. And I want people to know about the life I lived, and that I'm going to die because of AIDS. And again, he's like, Mom, even though this happened to me, I need you to understand that I lived my life my own way, and I had a lot of fun. And he's like, do you understand what I'm saying about the fun that I had over the years? And Richie's mom is like, no, I don't understand that. And Richie is like, yeah, Mom, that's why I need to talk to Jill. So please bring Jill to me. So we cut to this scene, and Jill has been called over by Richie's mom, and Jill goes, and Jill is like, okay, how's Richie? Let's get to talking. And this is where Richie's mom tells Jill that Richie died yesterday evening, and of course, Jill is devastated, and Jill is like, "Wait, so your son died yesterday, and you didn't call me? I could have come over." And Richie's mom is like, "Yeah, you weren't a priority for me." Again, Richie's mom is so maddening. And Jill asks Richie's mom about what he said before he died, and Richie's mom is like, he asked for a glass of water, and Richie is like, no, and Jill is like, no. When he died, what were his last words? And Richie's mom is like, I don't know. I wasn't in the room. And of course, Jill is devastated because she's like, her best friend, basically her brother, died, and he died alone. No one was in that room. And yeah, this is where Jill ends up talking to Richie's mom, and she tells Richie's mom about how Richie said that he ended up infecting a whole lot of people, and there was a whole lot of guilt inside of him. And Richie's mom is like, no, you don't get to put all of this on me. I loved my son and all of that stuff. And Jill is like, no, 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 you don't love your son. What you did is you ended up creating a household that was devoid of love, and that vacuum inside Richie, that's what ended up feeding his guilt, and that's why Richie ended up being the type of person that he is. That the type of person who ended up growing up as an adult man who had a whole lot of self-hatred, and Richie dying is on you. And all of those other queer men that Richie infected, that's on you as well. And Jill walks off, and I was like, good, Jill. Richie's mom needed to hear. And even then, Richie's mom is like, no, none of this was my fault. She just refuses to take accountability. So Jill goes to meet Roscoe at the B&B, and Lucy's there. Richie's little sister is there, and they all cry over Richie. And then they have this dinner where Jill's other friends are present as well. Ash, Roscoe, Jill, other people we have seen throughout this miniseries. And Jill's parents come in too, and Jill, of course, break down. And they're all trying to move on. They're all trying to remember the friends that they lost, and that they still need to move on with their lives. So time has passed. Jill is going to work in the car, and Roscoe walks off. And we see that Roscoe has actually gone to his home, because I guess it's time for Roscoe to forgive his father, which, you know what, good for you, Roscoe. And Jill ends up going to the hospital, and there's this queer man who is close to dying, and no one has come in to see him. So Jill is like, you know what, can I stay here? Can I support you? And the queer man is like, yeah, I appreciate that very much. And then the episode ends with a flashback where everyone is happy. We have Ash, we have Colin, we have Gloria, we have Jill, we have Roscoe, and we have Richie, and Richie is acting out a scene, and everyone is having fun, everyone is young, everyone is thinking about the lives that they're going to live as adults. And yeah, devastating. Again, a very, very devastating show, a very, very well written show. By Russell T Davies. And even though I know that Russell T Davies writes good shows, there are certain shows that I couldn't literally make myself to watch, which was the previous show that he did, the one with Emma Thompson in it. I'm not really sure what the name of that show is, but I couldn't watch it. But this one, it's a sin. It's incredibly well written, and I think I'll be doing a written review just for the geek area as well. The link to the review will be down in the comment section whenever the review goes up, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, who knows. But yeah, if you guys have access to channel 4, watch this show. Or again, if you have HBO Max, you can watch it in February if you're a resident of the US. But yeah, again, a very emotional show, a very important show, because again, this is actual history, this is factual history, and people who ended up surviving that time are still alive. And but yeah, and feel free to share your comments down below, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and see you guys later.